What's good? You're listening to Tower Pod. I'm your host, Inspirational. Chapter 476 is out on Webtoons, Sunday, April 26, 2020. Now, this review is considered FastPass as of when I record this, so if you're listening via podcast and you do not use coins, stop listening to me right now. And wait, a little plug, but this week we're gonna do some more anime streaming. So the second episode for the anime will be live on Crunchyroll around 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll be streaming on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come watch me today, or watch it before and then come see me tonight. Anyway, let's begin. We finally see where Yu Hansong has been chilling. He's just waiting patiently in Karka's pocket dimension. Both Yu Hansong and Evankhul have both been there before, and we're actually the first individuals outside of Karka's minions/servants to enter this place when the second floor administrator teleported them to this dimension in the last train arc in chapter 402 or season 2 episode 322. It looks like Cheon-hee is the next person to enter this dimension because Karka just didn't want to deal with her and he wanted to go help Bomb out because of Calavan. We see Karka's servants Deathbird and Grom, and it's great to see that Grom actually gets a rematch when with Cheon-hee, because Cheon-hee took out his arm back in chapter 403 or season 2 episode 323. Now, will Cheon-hee actually follow through with her threat back then for taking off his head? I guess we'll find out. Calavan's looking clean taking on those two students. Since this video goes out right after the chapter, the blog posts are 2 chapters behind, but the blog post for this week was for season 3 episode 57, but SIU talks about Calavan's character design, which is a little relevant now because Calavan is dropping explosions left and right. So in the blog post, he says that Calavan actually wears 2 coats, one to wear and the other one to actually hide his bound up arm. And we see the second coat flailing in the wind because it's being held by that safety pin so well still. Calavan is so conditioned that attacks don't do any damage to him. He doesn't really care about, and he won't even react. The level of reading an enemy's attacks probably comes from decades, maybe even centuries of battle experiences, but we find out that the Shinso Black Hole Sphere is enough to warrant a response, which, I mean, it is the Black Hole Sphere, so that's to be expected. I'm surprised that Bomb just didn't whip out his transformation when Bomb is fully committed into this fight now. He even gets his horns ready, which is new since we haven't seen them all season. So it's time to see how big of a difference this training will get Bomb in this fight. Panel near the end of the chapter where it says maybe bringing him down was a difficult challenge that the master gave to his 2 disciples. I don't really buy that. We get a flashback of when Master gave Karka a new set of armor, and Master says something similar to what he says with Bomb. This is for survival and for their own growth and need, not for the sake of some mission that their master trains or helps them. It's good to know that Bomb didn't actually get any special treatment from his master, which is great and kind of explains why Karka has been so lenient and helpful to Bomb. But again, back to that quote, I don't think Jinsong would want to give them such a hard obstacle, especially when he almost gave his life to try to defeat Calavan so he didn't get close to Bomb, right? The whole point that Jinsong went to solo the 4th Squadron is to avoid him meeting Bomb and taking on Bomb. So I'm not buying that little panel over there, but that's okay. In an old blog post from this season, season 3 episode 19, SIU told us that Karka isn't weak in close combat, but he always chooses to maximize survival and minimize damage as part of his style, which is why Calavan is so confused by his brash and upfront attacks. Some explanation to that is that Karka is acting as a decoy, and he's also pissed that Calavan took his master away and is going all out. Bomb senses that and decides it's not worth running, and this fight with Calavan is important to take on now than later, right? We don't know how much Cha can actually contain Doan's AoE or area of effect attacks, so it's not worth going to the wall when she's such a looming threat nearby. And we see a combo attack similar to the one to wake up Yama back in season 3 episode 19 or chapter 436, but in that chapter we had a translation of Karka's wave explosion attack as 105, but it looks like the right name for the attack is what we see this chapter, White Crow, and then its second form, Double White Crow Strike. Kind of sounds cooler and kind of looks like the opposite of Bomb's Zero zero with the black, the zero air wave is very bomb style, and that imitates that blackness and darkness. But now we see Karka, even though his main silhouette is all dark and all his attacks are of darkness, the actual wave explosion is white. Calivan's rant about Slayers in general is interesting because that's how the general population views Slayers. And well, to be honest, how we viewed Slayers until we got that big backstory on Yama. And it showed what it means to be a Slayer. It's to protect one's own people against a king who harasses and subjugates those people that you care about. That's even how Bomb saw Slayers until we got to the cage and learned about everything. So this is a good way to show Calivan what Slayers are actually capable of and what he turned down. I'm excited to see what Bomb will do with the horns at his current power level. We also have seen a triple orb before, but that was back in the fight against Data Jihad, so we'll see if there's an upgrade or anything to it. That's all to this chapter. Make sure to heart the chapter on Webtoons every time you finish reading and comment to be a part of the community. If you get a chance, subscribe to get access to these reviews every week. My social media can be found by searching Inspirational on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Shout out to my designer. You can find his work on Instagram at JadenV_photography. Shout out to my editor. You can find him on Twitter at YoungObesity. Shout out to Adios on Reddit for the translations of SIU's blog posts. This has been Tower Pod. See you all next time.